So, vulnerability profile of India. This was the topic I have to start. Okay. Vulnerability profile. Profile of India. Okay. So, in the last class we have seen that major part of India is under the threat of hazard. Okay, major part. Okay, and with the help of diagram, okay, with the help of diagram in the last class I have shown this part is this part, and entire northern part is prone to earthquake. Okay, entire northern part of India is prone to earthquake. Okay, but this part, look, this the northern part of India is prone to earthquake, okay, then landslide, okay, avalanche, okay. And what are the reason behind? The reason is both natural as well as anthropogenic reason. Okay, the natural reason is, number one is tectonically this part is very unstable part. Okay, because plate is moving. Second is very high. Second reason, natural reason is the Shivalik region receive plenty of rainfall. Okay, and plenty of rainfall, and entire Shivalik region is composed of highly unconsolidated rock. The rock system, the rocks of Shivalik is not very, that they are unconsolidated, not consolidated. So due to high rainfall, what happens? The soils क्या है यहाँ का? The rocks are very loosely arranged. So high rainfall caused landslide. Okay. Apart from that, anthropogenic reason is the development work, construction of roadways and other things. Okay. So this part is earthquake, landslide and avalanche. This part, this is Western Ghat. Western Ghat is prone to landslide, but this part is tectonically very stable part. But here landslide is due to the physical reason. Physical means it is an example of escarpment. किसका example है? Western Ghat is an example of escarpment. Okay, escarpment means this side means the western part of this Western Ghat. This is the second longest mountain of India. Okay, and one slope of this part is vertical and other side is very gentle slope, and this vertical slope witness plenty of rainfall. Okay, more than 400 centimeter rainfall occur in this region. Okay, so landslide is the main reason Okay, landslide is the hazard, and the reason is structure as well as natural reason is rainfall. And apart from that, this part is landslide is also caused due to plantation agriculture. Which agriculture? Plantation agriculture. Because the people of this region practiced plantation of spices, coffee, okay. Mining activities is also there, because here is Baba Budan Hills, okay, which is very rich in iron ore, okay. There is a very important belt of iron, okay. Iron belt is there in this part, okay, in Karnataka region. Kudarmukh is a center, okay. We have in India, we have 4 belts of iron ore, okay. Number 1 is Jharkhand Odisha belt, Jharkhand Orissa belt. Number 2nd is Bellari, Chitradurg, Chikmagalur, Mangalore, Tumkur belt. And the 3rd is Goa Maharashtra belt, and 4th is fourth is in Chhattisgarh, okay, and the name of the belt is Chandrapur, okay, Chandrapur, and there is another name called Baladila, Chandrapur belt, Baladila, okay. So these are the 4 belts, okay, and this Bellari, Chitradurg, Chikmagalur belt is where? It is in this part. So this part is prone to landslide, and the reason is natural as well as and anthropogenic, okay. Now this part here is coastal region. This part is also coastal region, and these coastal regions of India, which is about 6100 kilometer in length, is prone to cyclone, okay, storm surge, okay. So natural reason is there. The middle part of India here, okay, here is mining activities, deforestation caused the responsible behind the hazard. And this central part, this is the northern plain, which is prone to flood and drought, apart from earthquake, okay. This region, the northeastern states, here earthquake is there, and apart from that forest fire. So this is the profile of India, hazard profile of India, okay. I hope this is clear. So write down. India is one of the 10 worst. India is one of the 10 worst disaster prone countries of the world. Full stop. It is vulnerable to a large number of natural as well as as well as human made disaster, on accounts of its unique geoclimatic and socio-economic conditions. Okay, socio condition. Full stop. Out of 36 states and Union Territory in the country, 28 of them are disaster prone. Full stop. According to the Vulnerability Atlas of India, 85% of the geographical area of India is prone to more than one disaster. Okay, now next point. According to Vulnerability Atlas of India, number 1 point, India 58.6% of the landmass is prone to earthquake of moderate to high intensity, high magnitude. Second point, over 40 million hectares, which is equal to 12% of geographical area of India, is prone to floods and river erosion. Okay, next point. 68% of agricultural land of India is prone to drought. Okay, 10%. Okay, now next point. We have we have 7516.6 kilometer, 7516.6 kilometer long coastline. Look here. Here I have mentioned only 6100 kilometer, but there is also Andaman and Nicobar. So including Andaman and Nicobar. Okay. So how we have how much? 7516.6 kilometer long coastline. Out of this, close to 5700 kilometer out of this, how much? 5700 kilometer coastline is prone to cyclones, tsunami, and storm surge. Okay, storm surge. Next point. About 12% of geographical area of India is prone to landslide and avalanche. Okay, avalanches. Okay, next point. About 30% of the world's landslide, about 30% of the world's landslide occur in the Himalayan region. Okay. Next point. About 35.47%. About 35.47% of the total forest area is prone to forest fire. Okay. Last point. Vulnerability to disaster. Vulnerability to disaster of chemical, biological, radiological, okay, and nuclear in bracket, this is called CBRN. Okay, CBRN and nuclear CBRN bracket origin also exist. Okay. So this is what the hazard profile of India. Okay. Now you all have to draw this diagram. Okay. So this is Himalayan region. Now I am drawing again. This part is the northern Himalayan region of India. Northern mountainous or Himalayan, northern mountainous region of India. This is number 1. Okay. Northern mountainous region of India. Okay. Now, so right here, northern mountainous region. This region, number one region, is prone to earthquake, landslide, okay, lake burst, glacier burst, lake burst, cloud burst, okay, cloud burst. So this region, northern Himalayan region, is prone to cloud burst, okay, landslide, earthquake, lake burst or glacial burst, and cloud burst. So this area is prone to this type of causes. What are the causes here? Causes. Number one is plate movement. Number one is plate movement. Okay. In bracket, you all have to write what? Tectonically, this part is unstable. Tectonically, this part of India is unstable. Okay. And this is because of the collision. This is because of the collision and subduction of Indian Australian plate under Eurasian plate. Okay. Now, first cause. Second is, okay, the Shivalik region. The Shivalik region is composed of unconsolidated rock. Okay, full stop. This region also receive plenty of rainfall. Okay, plenty of. So this physical hydraulic region, this physical hydraulic region RESON region is responsible for severe landslides. Number third, okay, unplanned development, especially the construction of roads, has triggered the event of landslide. Okay, landslides. Okay, apart from this, deforestation, deforestation, comma, plantation agriculture, etc. also increases the vulnerability of this region. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, the second reason is the Western Ghat region. This is the second reason. Okay. Now, so second reason is what? The Western Ghats. This region is prone to landslide. This region is prone to landslide. Okay. Now, reason. What are the reason? Number one, the geological structure. Geological structure. Okay. The full stop. Geological structure. Now, in continuation, the western slope of Western Ghat is almost vertical. Okay. Full stop. This part also receive heavy rainfall throughout. Okay. Heavy rainfall throughout the year. Okay. These two reasons are responsible for excessive landslide, okay. Number two, second point. On the eastern slope of Western Ghat, due to plantation agriculture, comma, rapid industrialization and urbanization, and mining activities, are responsible for large scale landslide, and we have witnessed, देखा ना, Kerala flood, okay, Chennai flood, these all are the reasons. Okay. Now, apart from the above, the Konkan Railway project, has also intensified the event of landslide in the western slope, especially in the western coastal plain. Last point. According to the report of Government of India, according to the report of Government of India, encroachment of wetlands and low-lying areas, natural channels and deforestation has multiplied the landslide, magnitude of intensity of landslide, multiplied the events of landslide. Okay, the best example is Kerala flood, Wayanad, the best example. Okay, now last point. Look, this is river. Okay, this is river, and here we have constructed dam. Okay, so dam is what? It is a barrier across flowing water. Okay, now, so what will happen when we construct dam? A large area will comes under, means water is, large reservoir is created. Okay, now the water will store in this, and river water always contain sediment. Okay, river water contain what? Sediments, small particles of rocks. Now, so when water is dammed, when the river is dammed, the water becomes static. So the sediments which are present in water, they deposits where? In the reservoir. Okay, now during heavy rainfall, when the reservoir is filled with water and water is beyond the capacity of dam, okay, we open the gate of dam. Okay, now the water which is rushes towards this area is deprived of sediment, because entire sediment is deposited here. So this water is called hungry water. Okay, the river water without sediment is termed as hungry water. Now this water will try to get sediments. So this water speed is very high because of lack of sediments, because sediments in water decelerate the speed of water. So the water which is moving out here, coming out from this reservoir, encroaches the nearby areas. Why? To get sediments. And this is one of the reasons behind Kerala devastation. Getting my points? In Kerala there are 40 rivers and 46 dams. Plenty of rainfall. When reservoir filled with water, and when the water, beyond its capacity, then what we do? We open the gate. Okay. So the river water, the dammed water start flowing, and mining of sand is also responsible. We have mined the sand from, okay, that's why Supreme Court has directed to the government, stop this. Okay. So in Kerala especially, we have seen in the last 7 or 8 years large scale destruction. Recent was Wayanad, and the reason was damming of river, heavy rainfall, okay, deforestation, hungry water. All these factors has intensified this system. Okay. So the last point, damming of river in Kerala. Damming of river in Kerala is damming of river in Kerala is also responsible behind a large scale destruction due to क्या लिखा है? What? नहीं. Damming of river in Kerala is also responsible behind large scale destruction due to intensive landslide. Okay. So in Kerala, one of the reason behind landslide is what? Yes, damming of river, especially in this state. Okay, 40 rivers, more than 46 dams, and all the dams are very old, which was, some dams are almost 100 years or 80 years or 90 years considered by the Britishers. Okay. Now, the next is, the third area is the coastal area, the coastal region of India. Okay. The third reason is the coastal region. Coastal region. Okay. The first area is the Himalaya, northern area. The second is Western Ghat. The third region is coastal region. Okay. Now, the eastern coastal region, write down. The eastern coastal region is prone to cyclone, storm surge, storm surge, okay, storm surge, full stop, is prone to, okay, the eastern coastal, okay. Now, in the recent years, the intensity and magnitude of cyclones has increased tremendously, and this is due to the excessive warming of Bay of Bengal. Bay of Bengal. Okay. Now, second reason, the destruction of mangrove forest, has also triggered the impact of cyclone. Okay, so this part is basically affected by, कौन सा part से है, cyclone से और, हाँ. Now, next part is northeastern states. Northeastern states. Now, so in northeastern states, the disasters are: number 1, earthquake; number 2, landslide; and number 3, forest fire. So northeastern states faces 3 types of disaster. Okay, northeastern states. Now, what are the reasons? Number 1, tectonically unstable part. Unstable part. Second, very high rainfall. Okay. Third, slash and burn agriculture or jhum agriculture. Slash and burn agriculture. Slash and burn agriculture or shifting agriculture. Okay. And the last is development activities, unplanned development. Okay. Unplanned development. In Meghalaya, last point, in Meghalaya, rat hole mining. In Meghalaya, rat hole mining rat hole mining is responsible for, okay, is responsible for disaster. Okay, because in that Meghalaya plateau, the minerals are found at a very shallow depth. So they used to make a hole in the ground. Okay, and generally children and people enters to take out the minerals, and we all know Meghalaya region receive plenty of rainfall. Okay, so when people entered there due to rainfall, collapse of mines roof, okay, large number of people lose their life every year. Okay, now next is the central India. Central India. Okay, this part witness landslide, forest fire, okay, forest fire, drought, okay, etc. Reason, mining activities, overgrazing, deforestation, okay, and construction of railways. Because this region is full of minerals, so we have constructed dense network of railways. Why? To take out minerals from this region. Okay, and the last reason is Andaman and Nicobar. लास्ट कौन सा है? अंडमान एंड निकोबार. अंडमान एंड निकोबार. Okay, now this region witness earthquake, landslide, okay, and cyclone. Okay, causes number 1, this part is very near to mid-continental belt, okay, which is a destructive belt, Second, heavy rainfall is responsible for landslide. Okay, and last is tropical cyclone. Tropical cyclone causes heavy rainfall. So I hope this is what the vulnerability profile of India. And last is another is what the कौन सा है हमारा northern plain. The last is northern plain. Okay, northern plain. Now, this part witness number 1, earthquake, number 2, flood, number 3, drought. Okay. Now, earthquake, it is the youngest structure of India. What is the reason? It is the youngest structure of India and is still under the process of formation. It is the youngest structure of India and is still under the process of formation. अब छोटा बच्चा ही है अभी, तो बच्चा कभी भी क्या रहेगा, वो स्थिर नहीं रहेगा. Youngest structure of India and is still under the process of formation. Okay. Second, okay, large number of rivers drain it, large number of rivers from both, large number of rivers from the Himalayas, from both Himalaya and Peninsula, from the Himalayas and Peninsula brings plenty of water. Okay. Now, plenty of water. So this causes flood. Okay. Failure of monsoon. And last, failure of monsoon. Okay. Causes large scale drought. Failure of monsoon causes large scale drought.
Sir, is Andaman and Nicobar witnessing flood or not?
Yes. Look, all the coastal regions due to tsunamis, cyclones. Okay. Here is also, but remember one thing, flood is a phenomena of plain area or the low-lying area. Okay. Low-lying areas. Okay. Entire Andaman and Nicobar is a mountainous region. It is the extension of 𝐼𝐶𝐤𝐬. Manipur Hills, 𝐼𝐶𝐤𝐬. Okay. It is the submerged part of 𝐼𝐶𝐤𝐬. So hilly region. So generally in the mountainous region, flood is phenomena of every area, but it is more devastating in where? Look, cloudburst is not disastrous, but the flood due to cloudburst in hilly region is disastrous. So here is also, flood also takes place, but generally flood is the phenomena of the plain area where plenty of water is there and the area is, the slope of that area is very less. So what will happen? Any addition of extra water due to rainfall, okay, spread out from the basin. Okay. So this is the profile of India. This is the profile of, disaster profile of India. Okay. Vulnerability profile of India. Okay. And we all know this is the densest part of India, and this part is also in the India. This part of India is the residence of large number of poor people. Okay. Why poor? Because of natural reason. Okay? The entire Bihar and eastern Uttar Pradesh is very fertile, very productive. But the people are poor. Farmers are poor. This is due to disaster. Okay? So people are vulnerable. So any event causes large scale damage. Okay? So this is what? The vulnerability profile. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now, next is, now those watching online, is it clear or not? Yes, I want response. Imran and Jaya. Is it clear? Okay. Now, the next is the history of disaster management in India. The history of disaster management. History of disaster management. Okay? Now, history of disaster management in India. Now, we will discuss this under two headings. Okay? All right. The first is disaster management during Britishers. During means pre-independence disaster management. Okay? Pre-independence. Pre-independence disaster management in India. And post-independence. Post-independence. Okay? Now look here. Because it is not a, disaster is not a new phenomena. Okay? From the birth of human. Okay? War is also disaster. And human can't live without war. We can't live without war. From very beginning, we engaged in war. Okay? And war brings disaster or prosperity. It leads to prosperity. War leads to prosperity. The world has witnessed 2 world wars. European powers were involved in that. Okay? Japan was destroyed by, almost destroyed by atom bomb. Germany was defeated. Sanctions. But where they stand now? Where they are at presently? On top of the world. Yes, war is responsible behind destruction, but that provide opportunity for the people to what? People to regenerate the things they have lost. And whenever the people are engaged in that, they came out with new technology. Okay? New system. We have not fought any war. We have not fought any war. Where we stand? We are, every day we are fighting with poverty, unemployment, this, that, chalte hi rehta hai. European countries had fought 2 wars, 2 world war. Okay? And when London was destroyed by Hitler, Churchill came out with this sign. victory. So they fought war. Okay? They came out from war. They make plan. They planned for development. They work on that. And they came out with new technology, new innovations, and the world is getting lot of things from that. So war brings prosperity. We have not fought any war, but every day we are fighting. Okay? And we can't live without war. This is the nature of human. From very beginning, we are involved in war. But Second World War, what happened? Atom bomb was dropped. Destruction. Now, so they develop a new mechanism of war. And that is called Cold War. Because we can't live without war. We have seen the destruction of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Okay? And the world power came out with new plan. And they knew any such war in future is going to destroy everything. Because everyone has plenty of destructive things they have. Every country has. But we have to fight because we can't live without war. So we developed a new mechanism called Cold War. Okay? So, this disaster is not a new phenomena. And managing disaster is not a new phenomenon. In every part of history, the people of that period has managed the disaster. But as a modern world, we came out with as a management during the time of Britishers. Okay? But during the time of pre-independence, look, first of all, in India, disaster management has been evolved from, now write 2 or 3 lines, then I will discuss. What is the topic? Now, whenever you start a new topic, start from a new page. Okay? Now, so the topic is what? History of disaster management in India. Okay? So write down. Disaster management in India has evolved from, now you all have to write like one, but in examination you have to write in a straight line. Number 1, an activity based reactive setup, to a proactive institutionalized setup, structure. Okay? Now, so what we have written? Activity based reactive setup. Underline this. Activity based reactive setup. Okay? Now, then we have added with 2. What we have written after 2? Proactive institutionalized structure. Now, after 2, whatever we have written, underline that. After 2, just keep this 2 without underline. Okay? Now, second, and now, here only, and from, write down, and from. Then come to number point 2. And from, number 2 point. Relief-based approach. Relief-based approach to multi-dimensional proactive holistic approach for reducing risk. So in second line, what you have to underline? From relief oriented approach. Okay? And where we have moved? Reduction in risk. Okay? Yesterday we have discussed disaster management is comprising of risk management and crisis management. So from where we have moved to? We have reached earlier, our approach was provide relief to the affected area. There was no institution. Only after disaster, our system, okay, provides some relief to the, okay. Now, I hope this is clear. So when we study the disaster management of India, in India, we will study under 2 headings. Number 1 is pre-independence disaster management. Okay. So here the Britishers followed the approach of, which approach? Relief centered approach. Relief centered. Provide relief to the, but they also created some institution. For example, in 1878, okay, famine fund was created. Famine fund was created firstly with help of 1 crore rupees. In 1881, famine code was formulated. Okay, and in around 1900, a new post, famine commissioner post, was created. At presently, this post is attached with DM of particular district. Okay, so in 1900, what happened? Famine commissioner, a new post was created to manage famine. Okay, so they engaged in this. Their approach was relief centered approach. They adopted the relief. Their approach was pointed, or centrally it was centered around providing relief to the affected area. But they started new system. Okay, famine fund with 1 crore. Famine code was formulated. In this code, there was guidelines what the district magistrate or the regional authority will do during the time of famine, etc. Because this was the main that disaster or like that at that time. Okay, because during that period construction activity was not there, so landslide or etc. was very less, population was not very high, and the government was not also involved in that all the things. Only famine because it was affecting the treasury of British government. Famine means what? Starvation, death. Why starvation, death? Failure of crop. Failure of crop means loss of treasury of government. That's why they focused on this. Because the purpose of the British government in India was to exploit the resource. And one of the area was agriculture. Okay? And famine is what? It is the condition when people died due to the scarcity of food. And why scarcity of food? Crop failure. Crop failure means loss of revenue of government. That's why they do this. Getting my points? Now, so this was the approach of Britishers. Now, till 1990, we followed the same approach. Okay? But there was little bit difference. In every state there was relief commissioner, a new post was created, and there was a central relief commissioner, and both coordinate with each other, and their main work was to provide relief in the affected area. Okay? Now, 1990 was the year when INDNDR, okay? International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction. Okay? International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction. UN announced this 1990 as an International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction. Who announced? UN General Assembly. UN General Assembly has announced this decade as a International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction. Okay? And after this, when this announcement was made, our government decided to create institution. Don't write anything. Okay? Government decided to create institution. Okay? Then what happened? Disaster cells were established under Ministry of Agriculture. Under which ministry? Yes. So, Agriculture Ministry, which is called Ministry of Farmer Welfare, which is called at presently, उसका नाम change हो गया है. Now, so we have given the work of disaster management to which department? Department of Ministry of Agriculture. Okay? And in 1995, we created National Center of Disaster Management, NCDM. And why? To provide training. Don't write whatever I am writing here, just keep in mind. So after independence, what was the approach of British government? Relief centric approach they followed. Relief, providing relief to they provide relief in the form of money, cash or kind in the affected area. But they created what? Fund, founded code, appointed and created new post. For example, famine fund with 1 crore, famine code and famine commissioner. After independence, we followed the same path which was followed by the Britishers till 1990. And 90s decade तक क्या हो गया? Earlier, this 1972 first Stockholm conference. Now we are started. We have initiated conferences on climate change, etc. So 1990 decade was declared by General Assembly as International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction. Okay? Now, so what we did, we decided to create institution to manage disaster. Okay? And disaster cells were formed under which ministry? And in 1995, National Center for Disaster Management, which was changed to NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management by Disaster Management Act 2005. And you will all get training for 15 days. आप लोग जब IAS बनेंगे, you all have to go here to take training, because disaster management will be under district magistrate. So this is NCDM was created to impart training to the officials. Okay? And this was changed into National Institute of Disaster Management, Faridabad. Sorry, Delhi. Okay? By Disaster Management Act 2005. Now, but 1900, what happened? The International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction was. And in 1900, after this, in between 2000, we witnessed large number of disaster, especially Odisha super cyclone and other. Then what happened? In 1999, in August 1999, Government of India constituted a committee under J.C. Pant. He was the Secretary of Agriculture. ठीक है ना? He was Secretary in Agriculture Department. This committee recommended create a separate not plan, Ministry for Disaster Management. Okay? But his recommended was not accepted by government. Okay? Then what happened? Getting my points what I am saying? Till 1990, approach was same approach. 1990 was declared as International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction. Then and this was declared by whom? General Assembly of UN General Assembly. And after that, we decided to create institution. Firstly, we created disaster cells, and then NCDM in 1995. NCDM means National Center for Disaster Management. Why? To provide trainings to the officials. Okay? But at the same time, what happened? The decade of 1990s, we witnessed number of disasters, intensity, frequency, etc. was increasing. So what we did, we constituted a committee, Chief Secretary of Agriculture under J.C. Pant. What he recommended? Create separate ministry for disaster management. And this was the time when the first international conference was held in Yokohama in 1994 in Japan. Okay, to combat disaster, because now it is, if any part is affecting by disaster, entire world is facing some problem, because we are living in globalized world. So first meeting of disaster management for international cooperation, we have 3 meetings abhi tak hue hain, and all 3 are held in Japan. First in Yokohama in 1994, then Hugo in 2005, then Sendai. Okay, and the proposal of Sendai will be 2030, up to 2030 tak hoga. So this committee was set up, and this committee recommended that yes, we should create, we have to create, if you want to manage, then there is a need of other ministry. But his recommendation was not accepted by government. Then 2001, not 2000, it was February 2001, what happened? Bhuj earthquake, Gujarat earthquake, large scale destruction. And at that time, what happened? An all-party national committee, an all-party national committee on disaster management, okay, was set up under PM. An all-party national committee was set up on disaster management, was set up under Prime Minister. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister. Under this, now, this committee recommended the creation of NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, and also recommended transfer the disaster management from agriculture to Home Ministry. Which ministry? In 2001, okay, in June 2000, we took the work from Agriculture Ministry and transferred to Home Ministry. Okay, but there was no any laws. In 2004, tsunami struck. Okay, but there was the institution, NDMA was there, but there was no any proper laws to regulate everything. So what happened? Then Government of India passed, Parliament of India passed Disaster Management Act in 2005, and this Disaster Management Act created institution at central level, state level and district level to manage disaster. I hope this is clear. So this is the history of disaster management in India. Okay, so we'll study, we'll go through this management under 2 headings: pre-independence disaster management and post. लिखिए अब paragraph. So we have written what is the meaning of what, from where we have started and where we have reached. We have started, okay, activity based, okay, and second is क्या था हमारा, relief approach to risk reducing. Okay, now Paragraph change. The disaster management in India can be studied under two headings. Under two headings. Okay, number one, pre-independence disaster management. Pre-independence disaster management, and second, post-independence disaster management. Okay. Now, so in pre-independence disaster management, in pre-independence or during British rule, in pre-independence era, comma, the policy of disaster management was relief oriented. Relief oriented. Okay. The government focused only on providing relief in the form of cash or kind to the affected areas. Okay, affected areas. Okay, apart from this, the Britishers also created famine fund with 1 crore rupees in 1878, formulated famine code in 1881 and appointed famine commissioner in 1900. Okay, to manage disaster, to manage and provide relief, to manage and provide financial assistance. Okay, to the affected area. Okay, now, so this was the only work done by the Britishers. Now, disaster management after independence. Right on the heading, disaster management after after independence. Okay. Now, after independence until 1990, after independence and till 1990, after independence till 1990, we followed the same policy. We followed the same policy the British government had followed. Okay? The British government had followed. But, ठीक है? But we created a new post, okay, relief commissioner, inverted comma. We created new post as relief commissioner in every states. Okay. Relief commissioner functioned under the central relief commissioner. Central relief commissioner, with their role limited to delegation of relief material, and money in the affected areas. Okay. Now, paragraph change. The decade of 1990, was declared as the international decade for natural disaster reduction, in bracket IDNDR, by UN General Assembly. Okay. Now, full stop. Following this declaration, a permanent and institutionalized setup began in the decade of 1990s, 1990s, and disaster management cell was set up under the Ministry of Agriculture. Under the Ministry of Agriculture in India. Okay, got it? So government decided to create institution, and what was the result? Disaster management cell. Which year it was? In 1990s create किया गया under which ministry? Ministry of. Okay, now in 1995, in continuation, in 1995, the government of India created National Center for Disaster Management to provide training to the officials who are associated with disaster management in India. Okay. Later on, this center was changed to National Institute of Disaster Management. National Institute of Disaster Management by which act? By Disaster Management Act 2005. Under Disaster Management Act 2005. Okay. Now, the decade of paragraph change. The decade of 1990 was worst for India. Worst for India. And India witnessed a number of devastating disasters. India witnessed a number of devastating disasters, such as super cyclone in, for example, super cyclone in Orissa. Orissa super cyclone. Okay. This compelled the government to create a committee on managing the disaster, on the disaster management, on managing the disaster. Okay. And finally, in August 1992, The government of India set up a high powered committee under the chairmanship of J.C. Pant. Okay, this committee recommended the setting up of a disaster management ministry. Setting up of a disaster management ministry. But his recommendation was not accepted. Accepted by, okay, full stop. Thereafter, in February 2001, just after Gujarat earthquake, an all party National Committee on Disaster Management was set up under the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Okay, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Full stop. This committee recommended the creation of NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority. NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, under Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, Home Affairs. Now, therefore, in June 2002, the responsibility of handling disaster management handling disaster management was transferred to the Ministry of Home Affairs. From किससे लिए थे? Agriculture. So this can be your question. Okay, now so we transferred, okay, but after 4 years what happened? Tsunami struck, and then we decided now there is a need to create law to empower the institutions. Okay, now next point, paragraph change. Later, in 2004, Indian Ocean tsunami, shocked the conscience of the nation, and the government decided to enact a law on disaster management to provide for requisite 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 institutional mechanism for number 1, drawing up. You all have to write continuously 3 hours is in examination hall. So you all have to practice from here. The moment you will raise your head in examination hall like this, or you will do like this, you will lose 2 or 3 or 5 seconds. Okay? Mechanism for number 1, drawing up and monitoring the implementation of the disaster management plans Okay. Number 2, ensuring measures by various wings of government, for prevention and mitigation effects of disaster and for undertaking a holistic, coordinated and prompt response to any disaster situation. Okay. Now paragraph change. Okay. Finally, the Parliament of India enacted Disaster Management Act 2005 and notified on December 26, 2006. This is the date of birth of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. 2006. Now, so what we created by this act? Institutions where at national level or central level, state level and district level. At central level there is NDMA, state level SDMA and district level DDMA. Okay, but remember one thing, the entire responsibility of managing the disaster is vested in states, particular state in which the disaster is occurring. Central government and other agencies will support from outside. So responsibility of managing the disaster is vested in state government. All the institutions which are created by this act and other government agency will support the state government. Okay. Now, paragraph change. The Disaster Management Act 2005, the Disaster Management Act 2005, lays down institutional, legal, financial and coordination mechanism at the national, state, district and local levels. Local levels. Okay, full stop. The act provided for the setting of number 1, National Disaster Management Authority NDMA at national level. Second, SDMA at state level. And third, DDMA at district level. Okay. Now, last para. Who is the primary responsible for disaster management? State government. Write down. The primary responsibility for management of disaster . The primary responsibility for management of disaster rests with the state government concerned. Okay, full stop. The institutional mechanism put in place at the center, state and district levels helps state to manage disaster in an disaster in an effective manner. Okay. Now, so this is what the history we have discussed. Now, we will discuss about the institutions. Institutions we have created under Disaster Management Act 2005. Okay. So, first will be the institutions we have created at central level, then state level, and then, okay, major is national level. Okay. So, institutions created by Disaster Management Act 2005. Okay. Institutions created by Disaster Management Act 2005. Now, first as at national level, at national level. Number 1, Disaster Management Division. Disaster Management Division. Number 2, National Executive Council. National Executive Council. Third, NPDRR, National Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction. Then NDMA, okay, National Disaster Management Authority. Third, next is NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management. क्या क्या काम है सब देखना है. And last is NDRF, National Disaster Response Force. India is the only country which has a dedicated force, NDRF. So tomorrow we will discuss about, okay, in the last Sunday there was a test of geography. Okay, how many of you have attended? Yes, I have got 2 copies only. Those who have not attended the class, I am not talking about. Now why? Look, giving test is very important. Okay, test is very important. Mock test is very important for 3 reasons. The first is to coordinate between thought and pain. In examination hall, sometime your pain is faster than your thought, and sometime your thought is faster than your pen. So there is a need of coordination between both, and that require continuous practice. Second, to recall relevant thing, material, continuous practice is required, because in examination hall everything comes in mind except the point which is needed, which is required by the which we have to write according to the question. And third is to frame answer according to the need of the question. तो टेस्ट आपको देना है. हेलो, आई एम हियर. Yesterday I have said, respect the process of preparation. Because God has destined you. There are large number of services, but you all are attracted toward this. That means what? Inbuilt setting God has done. Now programming किसके हाथ में है? आप लोग के हाथ. मुझे बहुत सारी सर्विसेज हैं. यहां आप लोग आए हैं. दैट मीन्स व्हाट? कहीं ना कहीं गॉड का डायरेक्शन है कि जाओ आप इस फील्ड. अदरवाइज नंबर ऑफ सर्विसेज आर देयर. बस तो वो चीज जो है इनबिल्ट सेटिंग गॉड हैज डन. अब प्रोग्रामिंग कौन करेगा? यस, नोबडी कैन मेक यू नाइस ऑफिसर. कोई नहीं बना सकता. आपको बनना तो अपने मेहनत से ही है. टुमारो वी विल डू. ओके, कितना देर है? कौन कहता है? हाँ, 7:30 तक चलती है ना. हाँ हाँ, तो बहुत पहले से है ये. सर 8 बजे तक क्लास है सर. कितने बजे तक है? 7:30 बजे तक ना. वही तो लो, वही